Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/Entitled People. In today's episode, family takes seats at theater. Entitled SIL strikes again. 74 years old Karen at fireworks display. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. Family takes seats at theater. So I witnessed this years ago and have been dying to post it somewhere because I always felt like the conclusion was so satisfying it was worth sharing. So, me and my friend went to see a play at a small theater, Beauty and the Beast, loads of fun. We got the tickets late, so ended up at the absolute tippity top of the place, but right next to the bar, so no problem. During intermission, my friend went to the bar and I stayed to watch our seats. This section is not assigned seating. So I'm looking back over my shoulder in anticipation of her coming back, when I see a family of 4 approach for kinda empty seats. I only say kinda empty cause the previous occupants had left their jackets over their chairs to reserve them. This isn't a rule, but where I'm from, it is generally respected. If there's a coat on the chair it's occupied, find another. This family, however, decided to ignore etiquette and gathered up the other family's belongings and dumped them on an empty chair in the row in front. So now I'm glued to this. How are next family going to react? I wasn't close enough to hear anything, but the previous occupants came back, another family of 4, and things get heated. I could see the parents of newly seated family pointing aggressively and their mouths moving fast. They're not giving the seats up. So non-seated family walk away and come back a moment later with a member of staff. I'm thinking, oh, shit's about to go down. But the family and the staff member walk right past the seated family. They keep walking and disappear out another door, only to reappear a few seconds later inside one of those fancy boxes that sit right next to the stage, the ones that usually seat famous/important people. I look back to Entitled Family, the mood is visibly ruined. I'm just sitting there buzzing off the contact high of witnessing such a satisfying moment of karma. Instead of dinner and a show, you were rewarded with a show within a show with spectacular karmic value. Bravissimo! If only it were Hamlet, shows all the way down. I work in a theater. We have a late seating policy that brings people in about 15 minutes into the performance. Traffic/public transport delays happen, yak now? A lot of people, when they see empty seats, try to move into them just before the show starts, or as the opening number swells. I go to these people and tell them to get back to the seats that they paid for. Some people really try it on by coming from several rows back, and most grumble and comply. Some, of course, are stubborn and entitled. So I always politely explain that these seats may have been sold already, and if during our late seating time the rightful owners come, they must move back to their original seats. Admittedly, sometimes nothing happens, and that's annoying. But it's always so satisfying when it does in fact happen, and I arrive back at the seats with the rightful owners and the seat thieves have to do the walk of shame in the middle of the performance. Here's the thing, if people ask nicely, and wait until the intermission, then we do our best to be accommodating. But be entitled? No. In fact, I think those seats just became permanently unavailable. Theaters should have a revenge box for things like this, and during intermission/right before the bow, and it's announced who got to sit in the revenge box and why. Too bad public shaming isn't really a thing now. Newspapers used to have a public/community shaming page. This happens a lot on airlines when seats are available. The AH in a confrontation is left in their seat and the victim gets moved to a better seat, or, if the aggressor has been rude to the FA, in better section. Entitled SIL strikes again. I've posted about my silly 19F before, yet again she exceeded expectations and managed to insult me further. For context, my in-laws are out of town and asked my husband and I to help watch the house/pets. He still lives with them. We had the understanding I would cook the meals if he agreed to do the dishes because she hates cooking and only eats pre-packaged hash browns. My husband is at work all day and only gets home at night. Yesterday I woke up and got everything that needed to be done finished. i.e., take out the trash, clean the cat litter, empty the dishwasher, feed the pets, and do laundry. Around 1 p.m. E awoke and came upstairs. While preparing for supper, I realized we were out of spaghetti sauce, so I nicely asked E to go pick some up at the store as I do not have a car and she does. K the whining of, but can't you just use tomato soup? No. I'm not making spaghetti with tomato soup. Then she cried about how she had just woken up and how I haven't even had my coffee yet. I said okay, sit down, relax and have your coffee and cereal. Then head to the store. You don't have to go right this minute. She tried to argue more, but I cut her off and said she didn't even have to cook it. I was making it. She finally went an hour later, and when she came back I asked her exact likes/dislikes, dietary restrictions for the spaghetti. She's vegetarian. I got to cooking and made her spaghetti separate so nothing would cross-contaminate, and she had no reason not to like it. She's had spaghetti before and has liked it previously. After cooking and putting her and my husband's portions aside, I went back to my room to finish some work. Around midnight, I go back upstairs to greet my husband and help get supper ready for him. When I notice half the dishes are still in the sink and E is nowhere to be seen. I go to throw something out and see a pile of spaghetti in the trash, E's entire portion. I was livid. My husband came in and asked what's wrong. When I pointed to the trash, he became angry as well. E does not pay for groceries, she didn't even cook it. Yet she threw out perfectly good food instead of leaving it for someone else's leftovers. Based on the amount thrown out, I doubt she even had 1 to 2 bites. While I got my husband's supper, he came upstairs and made herself hash browns before scampering away. Cut to the next morning, my husband messaged E her chores for the day. Clean up after her cat, get her laundry out of the dryer and do the rest of the dishes. Before I started making supper, she threw a hissy fit about how it wasn't fair his expectations of her and ran off to her GFs for the day, leaving me to care for her cat and the mountain of dishes she left. I hate this girl now more than ever. I've never experienced someone so entitled they expect everything to be done for them without her lifting a finger. She's 19 and can't even do dishes without throwing a tantrum. And the reason for half of the dishes still in the sink? Well, apparently the dishwasher was full and she couldn't possibly hand wash anything. That's beneath her. So yeah, I want to go home. Edit for info, trigger warning: Unalivia gets away with a lot. I said this in a comment, but when she was 16 she threatened to unalive herself to get a car. My MIL has trauma of sister unaliving, so ever since then she's been terrified of E doing it. She refuses to discipline E or getting her to do anything. Examples being, eating a proper meal, showering/basic hygiene, and getting a job. E will pick fights with the sibling. She has extreme political views, and if anybody disagrees with her she will start shouting until MIL cuts in and tells the siblings to leave her alone. It's only been recently that my MIL has been starting to be stern with her. It's a slow process. Also, my husband already spoke to my FIL and we won't be doing anything for E anymore. We would go home, but it's hours away and I don't trust E to watch the pets. Second edit, to the people who are saying just go home over and over. I refuse to put animals at risk. Because of E, we agreed to watch the pets. Not E. Not the house. I will do my job until they get back. I was trying to be nice by agreeing to share meals with E, but after she requested spaghetti and dumped it in the trash, I won't be doing that anymore. And yes, she does have chores, but she's just refusing to do them since the in-laws left. So it's getting a little messy here. So go home. 19 is plenty old enough to be left by herself. If you think she won't take care of the animals, take them with you. That would be 9+ animals at our house then. They have 5 animals. We have 4. We live with my other sale, 25F, and she's taking care of the pets at our home RN. I was just about to say this exact thing. Just go home. A 19-year-old can't take care of the pets for a week or 2? So her parents ask another sibling who doesn't even live there to do it? And another family member is watching your pets? Why did you agree to this? How many people are going to be inconvenienced by one spoiled person? Next time, say no. Sadly, we owe my in-laws a favor. E has been a constant thorn in my side, other posts Eve made. We agreed to watch the pets as a return for that favor, while our roommate, other Asael, is watching all of our collective animals in the house. She doesn't mind and has done it before. I would gladly go home if I could, but it's hours away and I would not trust E to take care of the pets. I don't want them to suffer because he won't feed them / take care of them. Natural consequences, dear. You do exactly what your in-laws requested and nothing more. Don't put yourself on fire for her. We've decided to only cook enough for him and she can scarf down hash browns and cereal for 2 weeks for all I care. Take care of the pets and feed yourselves. Get disposable plates, bowls, cups and silverware, and let her have the dirty dishes. Keep the disposable stuff where she can't get to it though. My God, she's 19 not 9. I wouldn't do one single thing for her. She's not a child, she's a grown adult. Her behavior is abhorrent and I'd be having a long discussion with her parents when they come back. If they enable this BS, I would decline helping them till A. She gets some therapy, or B. She grows the hell up and behaves like an adult. My youngest two are 13 and 14 and I wouldn't even begin to tolerate this at their age. She has zero respect for anyone and obviously doesn't care for her cat as she should. Maybe he deserves a better owner since everything is too much effort for her. I have a college-aged child who had germophobic OCD start up in 2019. Everything they tried to help themselves got weirdly scuttled. Then COVID came and seemed to prove those irrational fears correct. We are trying to back out of OCD routines, but it is hard. But for the most part, except when a truly irrational fear takes hold, child has been cheerful and pleasant. We are dealing with long-term stuff, but wow, I think I'd take it over your Asael. Child has legit long-term stomach issues, so we are pretty careful about brands of stuff we use, but wow, still. SMH. I'd recommend taking any dirty dishes she leaves and putting them in her bedroom. She can clean up her own mess. Her room is actually terrifying. If you stand in the doorway, the smell hits like a truck. Her lack of basic hygiene extends to her room, sadly. So I doubt she'd notice the dirty dishes. 74 years old Karen at fireworks display. About an hour before the show was set to begin, my kids and I rolled up to the local shopping center parking lot as it's a decent spot to watch fireworks. It was mostly full, but many spots were taken by people in chairs and on blankets. I luckily found one that wasn't, until I was halfway in and noticed two old ladies shaking their heads at me. They were taking up 2 parking spots with just their 2 chairs, and their family was taking up the 2 next to them, truck in one, family sitting on the ground behind it. One family was taking up 4 spots. I was like, hell no, and pulled in anyway. Karen got up and stood at my window to tell me that she'd been there for 2 hours and if we parked there, she and her Karen friend wouldn't be able to see. I said, fine, just move your chairs and I'll pull forward to that space and you can sit behind me. I wouldn't be blocking it all that way, but they refused. I said fine, I'll stay here and block you. I didn't care if my ass was sticking out a little. Karen started ranting about being 74 years old and she didn't have to put up with this, and then she's 74, and how rude I was, and she's been here 2 hours, and she's 74, blah blah blah. Then her son, I assume that's who he was, said something to her and both Karens got up and let me move forward. We stayed in our little rectangle and didn't encroach on the other 3 spots, but Karen and her comrades stayed in the spot behind their truck. Why wasn't that an option before? Selfish Karens. I have a neighbor who is 80-something. She comes in my yard to try to trim my hedge how she wants it. I told her she's not allowed in my yard, etc. She told me she's old so she can do whatever she wants. I'm 73, so I told her I'm old, too, and can have her arrested if she does it again. Someone decided my rose bush needed watering the other day, which whatever, but that spigot spews water into the basement. Get some of those motion sensor sprinklers and put them on your side to where they will be set off by someone going near the hedge. Make sure to have a camera pointed that way so you can watch her surprise when they kick on. Screw her. You were accommodating enough to even move so as not to obscure their view, and she dug her heels on principle. That's insane to take up 4 spots. Oh, that's good, about what OP did, not Karen. I'm not one for firework shows, I'm sensitive with loud sounds due to autism, so I'm not sure how often it is for Karens to waste spots like that. However, I remember when I was little, under 10, my grandmother on my mom's side was going on about how the trees were blocking her view of seeing the fireworks. Y'all, I remember we were visiting her in CA, the only trees, pathetic little things with bare branches, weren't even close to us. She wanted to find a reason to complain, as no one was paying attention to her. She's that type of person to find a reason to get into a conversation regardless of what it is. Anytime I see her, which is rare, and she sees me drinking from a straw, she'd always say it's amazing I'm drinking from a straw as I couldn't suckle when I was born. I'm turning 22 soon, the last time I saw her was about a month ago. The police actually patrol where people park for our local fireworks. They can't enforce anything, but they strongly encourage people to only use one parking place. Those that don't comply are watched. Oh, were those fireworks you just lit? Ones you signed an agreement to take out of state? Here's your ticket, fine. Random sobriety checks at the exit. Just 2 examples that I've personally witnessed. If anyone is rude, it's those taking up 4 whole spots then acting like they own the parking lot. Your age is irrelevant, it doesn't make you special. Gotta love em. Whoopie-doo, and so what, precious person? 74 isn't anything special. It's like middle-aged nowadays. Hitting 74 just means you were lucky enough not to die yet, not that you did anything special to get to that age. Young assholes turn into old assholes with age, the only difference is their ass is much more wrinkly, says a middle-aged person, who doesn't feel being an elder to those younger gives me any privileges. Take a second and realize that the thing you're fighting for a good spot to see is the sky. The sky is quite big. Usually, fireworks happen in just a tiny section of it, perhaps 1/3 of a quadrant. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.